Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it is, of course, getting goosebumps as we walk into the latter half of season 2 with the 13th episode, Let's Get Invisible. This is actually the 6th book of the original Goosebumps series. So we're going way back, published in 1993. Got strong memories of this book, the cover, the imagery, and so on. Basically, if it was released in the first 20 to 30 books, I definitely read it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Directed by Ron Oliver. Again, he's back for this. And written by Rick Drew, another regular writer. So this episode, I really liked for one reason, which is basically if you've got a strong imagination and you're willing to let that run a little wild with what it all might mean and what it could mean in a darker sense, you can create your own imagery and thought process for the horror of this episode. Beyond that, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, I mean, they take the most basic approach that you could with it, but like you said, there's a lot of possibilities with the concept. Like there's a pretty decent J-horror, isn't there, based on like the horrors that could come from a different dimension within a mirror called Into the Mirror. I think they made that Keith Sutherland a remake of it called Mirrors, but yeah, there's that, and yeah, there's a lot you could do with it.
Exactly that. Great J-horror. Have you seen the Keith Sutherland Mirrors? Because I fucking hate that film.
No, I stopped watching the bloody American remakes after I watched, obviously, I think I watched the Dark Water American remake and wasn't a big fan of it. Just kind of completely lost the whole tone of the original. So
yeah.
Up on them. Also, the Ring movies, which fucking suck.
That's controversial. A lot of people like those Ring movies.
I think a lot of people like, especially the first one, because they had not watched it since they were like really young. And I just remember that first scene where you see the girl all ghoulish inside the closet where she like is all mangled and stuff. And that's quite a shocking moment, but that happens within like the first 2 minutes of the movie. And the rest of the movie is nearly like over 2 hours long. And it's really, really slow, dull and boring. And I think most people don't remember that. And if they went back and watched it, they'd remember the movie actually sucks.
Nostalgia blinds all.
Definitely.
Okay, we're introduced to 2 kids in an old attic as they're looking for something for a school rummage sale. They're distracted by a banging coming from a cupboard, but when they open it, a kid in a mask tries to scare them and actually fails. It's early Goosebumps opening that falls apart.
Oh, as if. You're not fooling anybody, Noah.
Yeah, I just put on my notes on this episode that when I heard that rapping on the wardrobe door, I was praying that it wasn't another annoying sibling pulling a prank, but what do you know?
What do you know? This trio are brothers. We have Max, played by Jonathan Swartz, Noah, played by Kevin Zegers, with Max's friend Erin, Flora Chu. So 2 brothers and a friend, Erin. He teases them about being alone, and Max then throws a shoe at him, but he catches it and throws it back, causing Max to knock over a load of stuff and says something about left-handers rule. This is one of those classic Goosebumps things where they do something early on that will come back later at the end. However, I'm going to give them props here. This is an excellent one.
Yeah.
They then discover a secret room, and inside they find nothing in there but a very strange and very large mirror that effectively sits in the middle of the room. I laughed at this. They're like, oh, there's nothing in here. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's a giant mirror sitting in the center of the room. That's not nothing. That's weird. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an antique right there.
Yeah. Max pulls a light cord above the mirror and the kids are blinded by it. You get this flash of light taking up the screen. And when they can see, Max is gone, but they can hear him.
Max? Where'd you go? Max? He's gone.
He pulls the cord again and reappears. The other 2 note that he was basically invisible. It's called Let's Get Invisible. This is how they get invisible. They all agree to tell no one about it. Again, do this left-handers rule business again, because Goosebumps, they're like, wait, people may not have picked up at the start. Let's make sure we say it again.
Yeah.
Noah and Erin leave, but Max notices the plug for the light I guess, which activates the mirror, wasn't in, and then gets a bad feeling around the mirror, so leaves. We then get an eerie glow coming from the mirror, sort of half-ass CGI, where you get that glow around it and stuff like that. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm okay with this opening setup. You've got a quick, snappy. We've got 3 kids. You're not going to get any character development because this is Goosebumps. When do you? But it's like, okay, this mirror has a sinister edge.
Hey guys, wait up.
Yeah, get straight to the point, you know. Doesn't screw around.
Yeah, there's never enough time really to do anything. We then cut to an up-close shot of Max gargling in his bathroom. He kind of looks at himself in the mirror and seems a bit perturbed. I didn't really get this because it's not like what happens has already happened. It's dark as he sneaks back to the mirror room, but he's scared by Noah. As they stand in front of the mirror, their reflections kind of shimmer, and they both agree to pull it and then find themselves invisible. The torches are still visible, though, as they play around. This confused the fuck out of me. If their clothes go invisible, so when they go invisible, their clothes go invisible and everything on them goes invisible, why don't the torches that they're holding?
Oh wow, you're invisible.
So are you.
It's gotta be some kind of trick.
Who cares?
Plot hole.
I know it's picky and pedantic, but in these episodes, you've kind of got these little things that you kind of have to pull apart because they're all you're noticing.
Exactly, yeah. If the physical items of clothing they're wearing are invisible, yeah, then they should too, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, they wonder what they could get away with as being invisible, and they make some things about what they could do. And all I'm thinking is, let's be honest, man, this is the kids' angle of it. We all know the horrible shit people would actually do if they went invisible. They've made horror movies out of it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I thought it was quite amusing. I don't know if it's been happening in the episode yet that you're describing, but I thought it was quite funny that even one of the young kids does say that he would like invade the girls' washroom and stuff like that. I think that's quite like, you know, that's probably what, like you said, people would think of. So it did
Certainly
kind of say
a teenage boy.
For a teenage boy, yeah, they did kind of say that. Yeah.
They then start to notice that they're feeling dizzy, so they pull the cord again and become visible. Max and Noah then agree to keep it to themselves for now, but basically have some fun. And later, at another time, Max's friend Zach, played by Adam Bonu, has come over, and he is impressed with his new ear piercing. His mother tells him not to get any ideas before she leaves. Again, this is a Goosebumps thing where they're like, okay, pay attention to this. This will come back in a bit. Erin arrives and they take Zach up to the mirror. We cut to them being invisible and throwing a ball around. Noah arrives and is unhappy about Zach being told, because here's the thing. It's like, hey, we were supposed to keep this secret. Here's another person that now knows. That person tells 2 friends. He tells 2 friends and 2 friends and 2 friends. I might actually try and see if I could do the squares here.
The Wayne's World thing.
Yeah. Erin and Max start to feel unwell, so ask Noah to pull the switch. He pulls it, but they don't come back as quickly as this time. So we are developing the episode. They're a little slower to come back from being invisible, and it's more fading in rather than appearing. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I like this. Again, they wonder just what they could do with this power, but Max suggests they try to be scientific about it. I mean, are you scientists? What are you going to do? I don't really get what he means.
No, it's clearly magic, bro.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Max notes that it is taking longer to come back, so they plan to time it. So there is this clever idea where they're like, okay, let's see how long we can time it comes back this time, the next time. And Max turns invisible again. But something is different this time. He says he feels like he's drifting and his voice sounds as though he is in a cave. The mirror starts to glow and Noah tries to pull the cord, but it breaks. This is where I said about imagination.
What's the matter?
I'm not sure. I feel like I'm drifting or something.
He's in a cave.
This is strange. So strange.
Max? Keep talking. Max? Max? Max?
So
Mm.
I think I've still got quite an imagination. And in my head, you start to almost think of like otherworldly planes and death and the great beyond, where the longer you're invisible, the longer you stay there. He talks about being cold. He talks about feeling empty. I started to conjure up images almost in comparison to the other side in Poltergeist and things like that.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
quite a horrifying idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, your mind, like you said, your mind runs with possibilities of like the horrifying dimensions they may have gone to, but we do obviously see there in the episode what it's like inside the mirror, and as you know, in Goosebumps form, it kind of is more on the goofy side than like the horrific side, unfortunately.
It is. It's maybe an episode you could argue could have done with never really showing you what's on the other side and just letting you see what the events, what happens outside it.
Exactly, and I think that's actually the approach that a lot of Goosebumps episodes maybe they should have taken, is maybe imagination could have been more terrifying than what they actually deliver, because more often than not, the effects that they use are like I said, goofy. So they just kind of loses that edge of like, maybe like you said, you're running through possibilities in your mind, and what you can think of is more scary than what they come up with. Maybe they should have taken that approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Max isn't answering anymore, and the other kids are naturally freaking out because the light switch broke. Aaron is able to get the switch off, but Max doesn't come back at first. When he does, he's lying on the floor and shivering in a fetal position. And I thought, God, yes, this is dark. This feels wrong. It's confusing. And I like it because ultimately the kids have fucked around with something they do not understand. And that's really interesting.
We are going to be in so much trouble. There!
You okay, boy?
Yeah. There's a message in there about not touching things that you shouldn't, things like that.
But it gets even like slightly better here, as he says, he describes what happened to him as being right there, but he wasn't. He describes it like a dream that was filled with colors. And again, I'm like, there's such vague connotations to that. Like, that's imaginative. Keep that up, episode. We know they won't, but damn, that was good.
Yeah.
Max says, look, we shouldn't do this anymore. But Noah and Zach aren't happy, They're like, oh, we didn't get a go, all that bollocks and stuff like that. Forget the fact that Max is literally describing on the event that just occurred, that horrible event that almost didn't come back. It took him ages to come back. He came back in a fetal position and shivering, and then just described it almost like losing his soul. And you're like, oh, we didn't get a go. You idiots.
It's true.
Zach agrees to not use it, but Noah has his fingers crossed behind his back when he promises, bratty younger brother stuff. The next day, at the breakfast table, Max asks his parents about the house being haunted. Fuck knows why he goes to that instead. And he then sees food beginning to move, suggesting that Noah has turned invisible. This is a wacky, slappy stick style event. I don't know if they were like, the writing was like, we've got a bit too dark here. We need to scale it back and have a bit of slapstick silliness.
What's the big deal? Zach got an earring.
Well, if you're thinking about it, don't bother.
I guess it's like you said also that what would kids do with this power? They would do silly shit like that, wouldn't they? So
True. His parents don't notice as Max tries to cover up their sort of breakfast table antics. He goes off to get Noah, dragging the invisible kid away. In the hallway, he has a go at Noah, but notices Noah's voice is beginning to sound different, and Noah complains of being sick. No shit, Sherlock. He goes to the mirror room and finds Noah back, but speaking in a monotonous voice. Noah then leaves, and Max hears a voice calling his name, so he runs away. Yeah. Did you, at this point, remember the book and have any inclination of what was going on?
No, I mean, I haven't read too many of the books. So I didn't catch this one, so no, not really.
Did you, as the episode, did you think, okay, this is what's happening in the episode?
Of course. I mean, the predictable outcome is that the evil counterpart has somehow swapped places, and the other person is now trapped within the mirror dimension or whatever. That's the predictable direction, isn't it? Of course.
I kind of agree, and I disagree. I don't think it's as predictable as say like as easy. I think it only works if you've got a lot of mirror horror related stuff in your head, and that whole counterpart reverse thing.
I think that's probably it. Yeah, that's just where my mind would go to, kind of thing. But maybe if I hadn't had any like prior knowledge, it might not have even thought of that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, there's other possibilities, of course. Like you mentioned, maybe they're just like getting drained for some other purpose while they enter there. I don't know.
I wondered if initially it was going to do the whole fact that like that sort of urban legend, or not even urban legend, old legend around like a picture, taking a picture will capture part of your soul and things like that. That the mirror idea was doing that as well, that it was basically taking her soul. So when Noah was speaking in a monotonous voice, he'd kind of lost his what made him him.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, we've had that in other previous episodes, like the Say Cheese and Die episode with the camera that like kind of the takes the person's soul inside it and stuff, and then they're trapped. Yeah, that's possible.
Sometime later, Max arrives home from baseball and finds out from his mother that Aaron and Zach are upstairs with Noah. He runs up to find him in the mirror room playing with the mirror again. Zach is now invisible, and Aaron notices the change in his voice.
This could be worth millions.
Zach, your voice.
What about it? Man, it's getting colder here.
Party's over, Zach.
Max pulls the cord, and Zach slowly comes back. But he is strange too and demands that Max use the mirror again. He gets forceful and throws Max to the floor in front of the mirror. So things are ramping up.
No problem, Max. Come on, why don't you try it again?
No, I'm gonna break it.
Don't be such a wimp, Max. Come on, one last time.
What's with you?
He pulls the cord, and Max finds himself in some sort of mirror world where he's helped up by himself. This is, of course, what you were talking about, and this is it's crap looking. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they did their best, but there's like some imagination to it, because you could, like you said, you could probably think of more horrifying visuals for how it could have looked. But for a kid's show, they tried, but what like the inside of a mirror would look like, but it's just Goosebumps. So it's on the cheesier side, shall we say.
I just don't understand why they didn't do this most basic thing, and it would have worked, and it would have been cheap and everything, which is darkness. Just darkness all around him. That's it.
That definitely, that would have been a lot better.
Yeah, simple and very, very terrifying.
Relax, Max. It's not like you haven't seen your own reflection before.
Erin is freaking out, but Zach refuses to let her bring Max back. She then notices that his earring is in the opposite ear. So reverse image, basically. And again, I like it.
What are you doing? You're hurting me. Your earring.
What about it?
It was in your left ear before. Now it's in the other.
It wasn't.
I thought that was quite a nice touch, yeah.
Yeah, it's the sort of small, subtle detail that if in a longer movie, like you could pitch that being in a movie and it being something that they don't spell out and it's for the audience to pick up on.
Yeah, like maybe it's been there the whole time and you just haven't noticed, and that you'd be like, I have to go rewatch the movie now to like spot the earrings swapping sides. Yeah, quite a nice touch. The mirror Max reveals that he wants to trade places with Max, and that's what happened with Zach. So of course we're getting all the detail here. Basically, they have mirror selves that are evil. Why they're evil, I don't know, because it suggests if it's a mirror version, then that suggests the kid's good behavior is reflected with evil versions. So does that mean if they were a little bit evil, a little bit nasty, there'd be good versions trapped? Or super evil somehow, I don't know. Evil. Oh, I want the Masked Mutant to go in front of this mirror. Imagine what the good version of the Masked Mutant would be. The mirror world is cold, empty, with no feeling. The normal Max tries to run and basically does that whole awful Goosebumps running
on the spot
Yeah.
with a background thing they do.
You know, they're just on a treadmill in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes past lots of things towards the mirror. It's weird, but he sees a door and does actually reach for it. But on the other side, he sees mirrors of people who have been trapped before, including Zach. It's simple as this, and I won't be too hard on it. I can see what they're trying to do here. More money, better budget, a little bit more money. This is spectacular looking. But of course, it's Goosebumps.
That is the case with like so many Goosebumps episodes. You know, you could take them, handpick them like this. This could be taken and be transformed into something so much better. But they're obviously hampered by not only like a crazy short runtime, so they have so much to pack in a whole book into like 21 minutes or something, and then the budget is like tiny, obviously. So they're doing their best in it. You know, if you don't look at it too harshly.
No, we always say, I always enjoy, regardless, because of the short runtime and the 20-minute runtimes, I always enjoy this, and I'm enjoying this episode. I was thinking at this point, and I wrote it down here, funny enough, which is I'm really surprised, and it's a bit off kilter in the conversation to the episode. I'm really surprised, considering the popularity of the Goosebumps movie that came out a few years ago with Jack Black and so on, that they never thought, oh, you know what, it's time, let's bring this as a series back, run it on one of the big networks with a bit more money, and redo that stuff. Now, I already think they've missed the mark with that because the Goosebumps sequel movie came and went without any noise at all, which really was very surprising. So I don't know if anyone give a shit about it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I checked out the first one. I haven't even seen the second one myself.
Yeah, exactly that.
Definitely...
Same. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was not too bad. But yeah, this is one that I think could be like improved upon in lots of ways. But as we said with the runtime, with a lot of these episodes, it's like impressive that they managed to be coherent at all, because I've watched 2.5 hour long movies that have like struggled to be coherent. So good job to them, really.
Yep, I mean, as of the time recording last night, I had to write a review for a horror movie I watched that was 1 hour and 50 minutes long, and all I wrote was, what the fuck was going on in this movie? Why couldn't they not write a straight story?
Yeah, I mean, so they get credit for that for sure.
Zach gets into a fight with himself while Aaron fights off Zach and turns the light. Max gets into a fight with himself, not Zach. Max inside the mirror while Aaron fights off Zach and then turns the light off. Max arrives back, almost frozen, and insists that Aaron break the mirror. Zach tries to intervene, but Aaron does it, and Zach then gets sucked into a portal that appears, releasing the original Zach.
Break it!
Didn't like this. This is lazy. That mirror breaks. That just means the bad Zach or the other Zach is trapped here and the good Zach's trapped in there. Don't give me a cop out of that. They all get sucked in and spat back out. Doesn't work for me.
It's too easy.
Yep.
You know, yeah. Just trying to wrap it up quickly.
We then get a joke about 7 years bad luck, and we see the mirror repairing itself when they leave. Later, Max and Noah are planning to seal up the room, but it ends with Max noticing that Noah now throws with his right hand. So, yeah, we get that kind of Goosebumps sting in the tail where, oh no, something bad still happens. And it makes sense because Noah was one of the earliest. And I almost think the episode did a good job making you forget about Noah completely because he's not involved in the big end sequence.
Since when did you start throwing with your right hand? Noah?
That's true, yeah.
That you kind of just forget a thing. So when that happens, you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Only problem for me is, well, why didn't Noah's bad stuff get sucked in? You're telling me it was like a very small circle and he had to be in the room for that to happen. Surely it was just the spirit get sucked in.
That's true. That's true. And also if his bad self has been loose for who knows how long, what's he actually been doing? Anything bad?
There's a sequel or like a side story. Noah's sneaking into the girls' room.
There you go. That's what we've been doing the whole time.
This is an okay episode. There's nothing particularly offensively bad with it. There's nothing particularly excitingly good about this one at all. It sits squarely in the middle for me. Truth be told, I think I'm likely to forget this exists. Similar to Liam, I wrote the notes for this probably about a month ago. And even reading my notes, there are parts of it where I'm like, why did I write that? Oh, right, I'll just read it anyway. Presumably I meant something by it. Whereas the freshness of ones that we're about to do following this are a lot more clear. So I think that speaks volumes to the forgettable nature of this episode.
Yeah, like I think talking through it, it maybe sounds better on paper kind of thing. But when you like you said, when it goes a period of time and you forget it, when I was thinking back on this episode, I was thinking, oh yeah, Storm at the Mirror, and the the reflection is evil, and they're trying to swap places and that sort of stuff. Like you don't remember the specific details. It becomes quite forgettable in that way. When that's unfortunate because it is obviously like unique to other episodes.
Yeah.
We haven't seen an episode that's looked at mirrors in like a sort of way. Then it has similarities, like I said, with Say Cheese and Die thing, and like it has a lot of the similar tropes that you have with all these episodes. So it kind of just slots into like the middle of the pack, really, like you said.
Put it this way, when we come to the tier list ranking, the middle category there, it's all right. This will be right there already. Like it's that's exactly it.
Yeah, I'll be interested when we do that to see like how much we remember of it then, because that'll say it all, really, won't it?
Yeah, that is true. That is, at least recording wise, that is probably a good 8 or so weeks away, let alone going up on the channel, probably the end of the year based off the run.
I guarantee we will say, oh, that's the episode with the mirror and, the kids swap places with their evil twins. That one, yeah. Guaranteed.
That'll be it. There you go. That's Let's Get Invisible, a ho-hum episode from both of us. What do you reckon? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?